AADA Finance are about to launch. They've set the date for the 13th of September. And in this interview, I have Mantas joining me from the team to talk all about the changes that have gone through on the protocol, what they've been doing, what they've been working on, all the improvements as well, and what to expect on the launch of the protocol. So it's coming very soon. Check all the links down below. There are some references there for you as well. Now they have a bug bounty in there. So if you manage to find bugs in the protocol, there is a nice reward for you. And there is also a audit report that you might be interested in regards to their security audit too. It's always good to have a look at those things and see what was addressed and what came up and what was addressed during the security audit too. So all those things are there, all the references for you in the show notes. But let's get into this interview. I have Mantas joining me on this episode to talk about the AADA launch. I'm really excited that it's happening. It's finally here. The big news announcement came out the other day, and I have him on the episode joining me again to talk about the protocol, what has changed, and everything leading up to this launch point. So, Mantas, welcome back to the podcast.
Pleasure to be here again. Thank you for inviting.
Now, if anyone hasn't seen that previous interview, you can get to it in the top right-hand corner there, and you can find that one and get a really good overview of his own background, the team's background, and everything they've done on the project so far. But big congratulations. The date is set. It's 13th of September. The milestone is there. How are you feeling?
Tired. That's the most obvious answer I could come up with. But in overall, we are very happy. Yeah, we are very happy to announce the date. And it's the commitment we have to make at some point, and we are really happy to do so, to bring something new.
Now, this is probably the biggest launch on the Cardano ecosystem since the major DEXs had launched in the beginning of the year. So it's been quite quiet for the last 4 months. So having this come up just before the Vasil hard fork as well is quite good for the Cardano ecosystem in general. So what have you guys been doing, and what are you going to bring to the Cardano ecosystem?
Yeah, so today someone asked me about, like, your roadmap is outdated. Like, what's your roadmap? You know, what you are going to do and what was your journey before? So I could come up with 4 steps in this whole roadmap. At the very beginning, I'm not sure whether you've been familiar with us, but we've been trying a lot of things. Like, we try to mint NFTs, we try to send something out, we try to create the golden tickets, some invitations to sales, to something, to really understand how the Cardano works. Then also we launched ISPO, which basically is managing your stake pool, simply to interact with the node, to interact with the Cardano CLI, to interact with the serialization lib. Like, we really like to learn about the Cardano. Yeah. Then once it's done, we naturally thought, okay, we should build something. We should build something, first of all, what we want to use, something that we would really enjoy, something for ourselves. And we decided, okay, there is a huge project, what we call it AADA V2 right now. It's more like the liquid, what they are about to launch at some time. So we thought, okay, we can do this, but it's very hard to do. And it's much easier to do the peer-to-peer based lending. Since Cardano is a UTXO model, it means one person is posting, saving some let's say assets into smart contract. Someone else is claiming only those assets. They are not claiming the pool of it. So we don't need the scoopers batchers or so. So it was much easier to launch, much easier and much more interesting. And right now, I think it's the best way to build on Cardano. Like to take an example, MusliSwap. If you could go back to historically, MusliSwap was the first DEX. They actually allowed someone to swap something with someone else, which is new. You cannot do this while you're transacting. You need to trust some party. So they allowed it to do. And for a very long time, even the SundaeSwap have launched. And many people have been using MusliSwap because it wasn't contested. They could actually swap, even though like DEX is much bigger thing. So we see it as the right way of building things. And to answer your question, what we are building, what we are bringing to Cardano is one thing is we are open source. The very exact code that we are using on our mainnet is open source, so anyone can come and fork, and many people did it already, and they could actually see every piece of the code and what we want out of it to reuse it. Just take it, build it, whatever you want to build. We don't care. The thing is, we want the whole ecosystem work. It will not make us richer. It will not bring more money to our pockets, but it's actually more interesting way of building. So the open source code, and the other thing is the lending. As I mentioned before, you could only transact. You could send something to someone, then you could actually swap. That's cool. You can swap some asset to other asset without trusting any party. So there is a DEX, and now you can actually lend or borrow. And it's a new thing because you are leaving a collateral in exchange to receive some other asset that you don't really control, that you will need to give it back. That's the power. Like, the lending is what we are bringing to Cardano.
And you guys are definitely the first ones there. And I'd just like to backtrack a little bit. I absolutely love the open source approach. Having worked in the open source space for so many years myself, contributing that way to the community and having people contribute back and then making your project better as well, having that really solid base that people can build upon is key to building a really good community and foundation for anyone else that is building DeFi in the Cardano ecosystem to do so. So absolutely love that approach. And thank you for providing that to the Cardano ecosystem. I didn't realize it was open source. You also mentioned that a couple of projects have forked it and started building something else. Do you know any of those projects? Have you spoken to them or anything?
I don't know whether they are projects, they are people, and they are GitHub usernames who could fork us. I hope they are going to build something because it's a free advertisement for us. I hope we get the competition because it will help us to make a better product, even though we will need to sweat more. But that's fine. Be okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps you on your toes, so you always have to innovate and build more and new, interesting things. Yeah. But you also have that first mover advantage in the market as well, being the first borrowing lending protocol on Cardano to launch and have essentially a fully fledged platform that's really out there and ready to go. Now, I know since our last interview and your launch on Testnet that you've done a whole lot of new updates and integrations onto the platform. Can you talk us through exactly what you guys have done and what users can expect now from the mainnet launch?
Yep. So I guess the most important thing that I have to share is the oracles. I suppose you know what the oracles are. They are the entities who are bringing real-world data into the blockchain. And usually oracles, to take Ethereum example, there is a chain link, and the chain link is a blockchain of itself. They have many nodes who are bringing, let's say, gold price into the blockchain, into the smart contracts, and smart contracts are consuming this data. So this is what the oracles are. The problem with us, with Cardano, is that we don't have an oracles. And in order to have advanced lending and borrowing, we need to have an oracles. So what we built, we actually built a community of SPOs in the Discord channel and said, okay, guys, let's build an oracle. Let's try to build a foundation for ourselves. So, we can sign that liquidating transactions without trusting each other and integrate this into our lending and borrowing protocol. So that's what we are going to use is a liquidation oracle. To give more information what it does, it actually, when you're a lender and you gave a loan to someone, that someone left a collateral. And you want to be sure that your loan is safe or that your assets that you gave, you will get it back. Without the price, blockchain on Cardano on-chain smart contracts cannot know if they can liquidate the collateral and give you back the value you're actually lent to someone. So that's where the oracles come. There are 9 nodes, and out of those 9 nodes, they have to check, okay, someone wants to liquidate a loan. Can they do that? And by can they do that, they actually check off-chain data, for example, Cardano native assets price, and decides, okay, you can liquidate. And what they are doing, they are signing or not signing the transactions. And we built it this way: if 5 oracles out of 9 signs the transaction, it can be liquidated. Right, so that's the oracles we brought. One of the first thing. The other thing is like many app changes and updates. And what we are focusing for the last week, and we are focusing right now, is the guidance on the site. It's easy when you are using AADA. You come there, you post. Let's say you want to borrow something. You are borrowing from the pool. You're not deciding the interest rates. You're not deciding. You don't need to find someone else. You simply just borrow from the pool, and the market is there. Liquidity is there. You just simply take from the market. When you're doing peer-to-peer, you actually need to be reasonable market player. You have to, if you want to get a loan, you have to put the competitive interest rate. Otherwise, no one else is going to look at it. You have to put the reasonable collateral. Otherwise, the lender will not trust this loan, right? So that's what we are doing. We are adding guidelines to help the user navigate our app and create a more competitive orders, and therefore using the app more fluently.
Yeah, that's really cool how it's paired up that way, so you can really compete in terms of interest rates and collateral to be competitive in the marketplace and get the assets that you need, or find the right loan that you want to provide liquidity for as well. So, and earn a little bit of extra interest. So it's a really interesting market play, and it's going to be interesting to see how users jump in and play around with that marketplace, see what economy like really comes out of that. So what can people actually expect to do when the platform launches? It sounds like they can provide and do all these loans, etc.
Yeah. So we do have 2 roles. Right now we do have 2 roles. One is a lender, other one is a borrower. The lender is a person who have an assets that he doesn't need, but he could borrow to someone else who might use it. And in exchange for that, he or she will expect to receive an interest rates. So basically, you, as a lender, you are scrolling the market of the loan requests and deciding which loan request you actually want to fund. And once you fund the loan request, the loan have started. You send the funds straight to the borrower address, and the collateral is locked into smart contract. So borrower is a second role. Borrower is receiving the loan from the lender by the terms he have defined before that. And once you got those assets, you can do whatever you want with those assets. You can use them, but they aren't yours. That's the important point of the lending. For example, let's say new DEX starts. Like they start to mint tokens, and they are giving 1,000 APR a year. So you can 10x your whatever assets in 1 year, but it's not going to last. Like it's going to go from the top this APR is going to decrease very fast. So one thing what you could do, you could actually buy an assets, go there and make the farming whatever they are offering and get this APR. The other thing is what you can do. You don't want on the first case, if you buy it, you get APR, you get more and more tokens. At the end, you sell or whatever, however you are selling it, you are making some of the profits. Likely, if that APR exists, likely the token price is going down because that's the simple inflation, right? How the borrowing solves the problem is the assets you have borrowed, it's not yours. That's why the initial price drop of those assets is not impacting you. You will return to lender those assets, and it's cheaper for the lender.
Yeah.
You see, you didn't lose the collateral. You pay the interest, and this is the part where lender have to decide. Okay, that's the interest I want to expect because maybe this is how the price will fall. So that's of the simple using. There are many more.
Yeah. That's a really interesting play there to try and reduce your, I guess, loss because of the interest rate and the inflation of the assets. That's really interesting. I didn't think of that. I'm assuming you're going to have a lot of tutorials and whatnot, documentation on ideas and concepts of how people can use the platform.
Yes, we do have a lot of docs, tutorials. We are trying to our app. We try to make it very linear. Like if you're a lender, from this point you can only go to the right, and we say, okay, you are here now. You should go there. Like there is no tree. So what we try to make it so easy. So there is no many options. If you, for example, give a loan, you see this record, and only button is going to appear is maybe you can liquidate. That's the only you can do, or maybe you can already claim if someone repaid the loan. So we try to make it as simple as possible. So far, I guess we succeeded it, mostly because we are building for ourselves. We are going to use the app probably before other people are going to use it, but we will use it for the real reasons, to make money. So that's the power we have. We are building for ourselves. The other thing is what I wanted to mention about an app is more. For example, what's now very popular is to solve impermanent loss issues. When you're getting permanent loss because you are providing liquidity to any of the DEX and so on and so on. So the same rule that I explained previously applies to impermanent loss. For example, you are a mint token holder, and you don't. And one thing is you can get an interest on the mint by providing liquidity and getting to some of the interest rates, some of the APR there, or you could actually lend to someone else and don't experience this loss because you are getting an interest and you're getting the same amount of the tokens, whatever the token price is. But it basically gives to any other token that exists in Cardano extra utility, because most of them are having a farming, at least the biggest ones, right? You can farm in one DEX or another DEX. So that's the utility for every of the tokens, extra, not taking, not replacing something, just extra utility that you can get. The other thing is those who are more adventurous, they can short. Shorting or shorting the positions. I know it sounds maybe scary. So you can actually short, and that's what we plan to do. That's what we plan to use. If you would look into Cardano history, last year was the year of the funding, as I like to say. There was multiple of projects getting a lot of money, raising millions and maybe 7 figures, maybe 8 figures, other projects. There are many funded projects. Not many of them are actually doing something. And especially when you are a developer, you see who does what. You see that, okay, these guys didn't even have a repo. Or these guys, there's no one asking about something. There are very small community and you see who are doing what. So what we are going to do, we are going to borrow some of the assets of those projects. Not we, it's me. I'm going to borrow those assets and sell it immediately. And then after some time, the lender will say, okay, give me back the loan, and I will buy back those tokens, those assets, expecting that the price will be lower, and give him back and pay the interest. And maybe I will get cool. some extra.
Yeah. I definitely have seen a lot of token assets go on the downward trend over the last 6 months. So it's maybe still a good opportunity to short it. And you're right, it does sound all risky and scary, but the way that you explained it just makes perfect sense. If the price is going to go down, you're essentially just buying it back at a cheaper price and then repaying the loan. And hey presto, with a little bit of interest, and hopefully you're ahead if your prediction is right. So it's not that bad then when you put it that way. Maybe
it's bad. Then you put some leverage on it, and that's the other thing you can do on with the lending. So I'll take the same example. I borrowed some tokens, I sold them, I got back AADA. I put the AADA as collateral, and I borrow same tokens again and sell them again. Okay, I get more AADA. I borrow some, put them as collateral, borrow some tokens, sell them again. I could get liquidated. All my positions could get liquidated, But if the price goes the way I want to go, I will, make more than it would make by dropping by $1 to 80 cents, with 20 cents, while you are leveraging its X something. The same way for the up, it doesn't have to be shorting every time. It doesn't have to be that depressed, right? It could be a positive. So I could leverage up some of the tokens and do it, most importantly, on the decentralized way. There is no sex. There is no, anyone else. It's just the open market.
Very interesting. I really want to know what people are going to do based on the price predictions for the Vasil hard fork and, which direction it's going to go, because you're launching just before, might be a month before. So it gives people time to play around with those particular price predictions on the platform, take out loans and do some risky moves or do some really, really creative ones. So I'm really interested to see what people come out with this and what people, I guess, show off on Twitter after they've gone 3-4 levels deep in leverage and say, hey, look, I just made 100x gains. That'd be amazing to absolutely see what comes out of all that. Now, a lot of people also talk about stablecoins when they're taking out loans, because it's kind of like an easier way to measure the price impact, etc. Because AADA is also an unstable asset. So are you going to have stable coins on the platform? I know they're not launched yet, but are there any plans for anything like that?
Yeah, the fair answer is I don't know. The thing is, I don't know whether we will have a stable coin anytime soon. The thing, we of course do want to have a stable coin on our platform, because those all interest rates, additionally the price of the AADA and the price of the token, they are free moving variables, and it's very hard for human brain to follow it all. It's very hard to follow all the variables and try to do the math. The other thing is the collateral is a very important thing on the lending, because the collateral you provide, if the value drops, you can get liquidated. The oracles that I mentioned previously, those oracles could help to liquidate your loan because, for example, if the price went down, or let's take the token, a MELT token, for example. Maybe MELT token costs 50 cents and it costs 50 cents for 6 months. But AADA price falls, AADA price, let's say, fall from 50 cents to 20 cents, and you took the loan of MELT. You actually loaned MELT and provided the AADA of collateral. While your collateral value dropped in the value of the dollars, your loan did not change, and you're actually losing money. You might be liquidated, and you get unreasonable risks because of that. So that's why stable coins are very important. But the bigger thing that I have to mention is how important collateral is. Collateral, we will take only one token as collateral on our platform at the very beginning and probably for a while, and it's AADA. We would love to put our token there, but we can't, because if our token price moves up or down, there are going to be suffer. Someone will suffer because of either way. That's why we can use very, very liquid token, and that's the token, the most native token of Cardano, it's AADA. So that's a very important thing, and that's why we can't use, maybe risky stable coins. It happened with the Nomad bridge a couple of months ago, right? There was a hack. The stable coin did not simply disappeared. Much value had dropped. Imagine if we had used that token by then, we had launched our app by then, and many people would have put this token as a collateral. Many of them will be very unhappy, and the unhappiness is the both way. Not only the borrower is unhappy because he just lost the collateral, but also the lender, because he is getting the collateral that worth nothing. But the value falls from 1 to 0 instantly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So it's a potentially risky thing we're in the early days while everything gets sorted out. And once the liquidity there and everything's stable, then yeah, sure, okay, great. So ADA will be the base currency for all the borrowing and lending on the platform until stablecoins are finally stable in the ecosystem.
Yeah. To give you an example, Aave did not support USD for a very long time. It didn't support at all. But they've been very attacked by communities, especially Luna community, because use the USD, that's the stablecoin. How can it, it's the how much it was, 50 million market cap, maybe 15, I don't remember. But just use it because it's a stablecoin. And they said, no, it's risky. And they actually ended up being right. And very luckily, they've been right.
And that saved their protocol because they viewed that risk. Wow. Okay, that's absolutely amazing. Very, very good.
It saved the people. The protocol would have been there. It's decentralized, right? It's just an intermediate between something. Like they would still be alive, but many people would have suffered because of that.
Yeah. Wow. Incredible. Okay. Very, very good input there. Now, in regards to the date, the 13th, you've committed to that. It's a very interesting launch. You're going full bore on that date. Why are you going for this type of launch and not going for a stealth launch or anything else? And is there a specific time that you're going to launch as well? Like, what can people expect with that?
We can't know exactly the time because we don't know how this date will go. We will need to perform a lot of stuff by that date. How we chose this date is our one loved community member's birthday on September 12th. So we decided to give him 2 days to celebrate. That's the joke. Basically, I took the nap and decided, okay, let's do it on 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, but to be honest, we try to align with the Vasil hard fork because this is when the community is active. There are many things happening. We thought we will be after the Vasil hard fork, maybe a couple of days or so. But putting all the marketing and planning ahead takes a while. So we could have 1 week after or back. So we decided, okay, this is the date. And we are very happy we committed it because right now we're only prioritizing things that we need to launch. We are very sure we can launch. And we are already using the app and we are simply, okay, we can definitely have this and give it to other users to use. Yeah, so that's how we come up with the date. As I mentioned, again, there is no certain time. We will wake up, put a lot of monitors on, a lot of in terminals and try to track everything and seeing if we can actually point the DNS to the right server. And if everything is fine, let's go. And let's do the marketing and some stuff.
Sounds like a pretty easy launch process. It'd probably involve a bit of coffee as well, just to keep you guys going.
It never was. It never was easy.
It sounds quite simple and easy, but I'm sure there's always going to be some little hiccup along the way to I've launched so many websites and you think it's going to be smooth, easy. Yeah, it'll be fine. There's a small website. There's always a hiccup somewhere. So you can plan all you like, but there's always something that comes up. Now, you plan this all around the Vasil hard fork. So obviously you're not waiting for the hard fork itself, like any of the scaling features within it to actually launch your protocol. So you've written it in a way that doesn't need the scaling features in there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one thing what I didn't mention about what are the new features of the app compared to our testnet? We have integrated versioning environments, which means once again that's the love of Cardano. So when you are creating a loan request on our app, it's going to be saved into one smart contract. When the lender provides the loan, is going to a second smart contract, and so on and so on. All the smart contract is defined path, and we know so we know what the path is, and let's call it a version. This linear way of the smart contracts is a version. So that's let's say it's version 1, and then we decide, okay, we definitely want to use Vasil hard fork because it is going to save for the user fees. So what we do, we actually create a new path, and that new path is, let's say, version 1.1. And every loan request created on version 1.1 is going to be if someone is spending from that smart contract, is going to version 1.1 smart contract number 2. So we can have multiple versions in our app and user will not even notice it. And we can change smart contract constantly and no one will see it is going to work for everyone all the time. And that's the, as I mentioned, power rather than vulnerability, because you can't do this with a DEX. If you have a pool of all assets in one smart contract, if you want to have other smart contract, you have definitely move it all to a different smart contract, point your batchers to that new smart contract and so on. You don't need to do this on the UTXO way, on the peer-to-peer way. And you know why it's important? It's in the short term, it's nothing. In the long term, we will be able to do changes constantly. Like we can change whatever, like we can add new features, and there is so many ideas like how many new modules we can put on top of it without even harming the previous user experiences. And that's the actual power we do have. We can iterate quickly because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Then that's what we are here for. Simply to run as long as possible. We don't have to be fast. We just have to run long enough.
That is amazing. I had no idea that was possible. And you sound pretty excited about that feature as well. And so am I. Like iterative tweaks to the smart contract. You can change things and evolve the platform. So you're not locked into something for forever, essentially. So that is so cool. Yeah. That is so powerful.
Yeah, may I give you another example? After the launch, we are going to, as I said, introduce new modules. One of this new model is right now we have a borrower and lender, 2 roles. We will introduce the third role, and third role is a liquidator. So the liquidator is the person. For example, you're a lender and you say, okay, liquidating sounds something I might not be able to do. Maybe I don't know how to do. Maybe I'm not sitting to my laptop, checking when I can liquidate a loan. I will give what we are doing in NFTs, and NFTs are right on us, as maybe you know. So I'm giving this NFT to other smart contract. I'm saving there and let it be there. And what I want to expect getting back the interest and loan that I paid, or in case borrower is liquidated, I want to get it back collateral that I deserve. But I don't want to pay for the transaction fees. I don't want to be monitoring the loan and so on and so on. So the liquidator is the person simply who is consuming that UTXO that was saved with you. This liquidator is taking your NFT, creating the transaction that is going to liquidate, for example, if the liquidation happens, liquidate the loan and give you back what you deserve, and taking the small fraction of the fees. And if the market is big enough, this person can be any of the bot. It can be simply Python script who is doing all of it. And smart contract doesn't allow him to take any of the funds except what he supposed to get, right? And what's the most important, our smart contracts that we do have them for, they are not going to change a bit. It's like 5th smart contract that is going to be introduced next to those 4 without changing them. Addresses will be the same, nothing will change exactly. And we can put those roles more and more of them. And this is the safety model, and we can just be as creative as want.
That is so cool. That's amazing. And you also said, I swear you said Python bot in there to do this liquidation of the smart contracts. That's the most efficient human. Right? Oh yeah,
it's a bot.
Automate
you don't
yourself,
need to
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So this, you can write any of the scripts. That's the power of the current ages. The scripts are more efficient than the people, and you can simply do the checking. If you are opening this screen and checking some price, someone else can do it much more faster, much more efficient, much more many times, and without you being there. And it's a server if in ABS for $40 a month, and they can perform some of the very simple actions. And this is what is happening on the AADA. They have an API where you could check the liquidatable loans and liquidate it because it's a market. This liquidator, when we don't have a price feed, he can only liquidate the loan. When we have a price feed and oracles, he will actually swap the collateral into loan assets and interest. So as a lender, you're not receiving a collateral which you don't care, for example. but you will have received exactly the same assets you have borrowed and exactly the same assets you expected to receive as an interest. So that's the power.
Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. And having it evolve in this way is going to open up, I think, a lot of more economies, a lot more businesses, a lot more opportunities for people to build upon and go, oh, I can build this now and make money off of that. And it's all based off that protocol. Really cool. I'm looking forward to this future of the whole DeFi ecosystem. And I think I have to pick up Python now, another language to learn. I really should have picked it up earlier, but anyway, that's okay. I'll get into it.
It's very easy. I'm listing the features. So I wanted to mention one more thing because it's related to the whole ecosystem. So another thing is, since we are on UTXO model, we can actually interact with the other protocols. And on our app, when again the liquidation, when you are a lender, you put the loan, you gave the loan as MELD to someone else, and someone else have a liquidate AADA. And you're going to receive AADA. You don't want AADA, you want to get a MELD because this is the MELD that you provided to someone, right? So what we have a one click on our user interface. And with that one click, you create the batching order, for example, into MinSwap. And we create a transaction that you will swap the collateral into MELD and you will receive MELD that you're supposed to receive. And it's happening from our side. We are interacting with the other smart contract. So this interoperability, that when one contract is building on top together with the other one and they are simply somehow connected. This is possible when it's the peer-to-peer. Like we can do many things with a Musli swap. Because there's a UTXO, there's a UTXO, and you simply can do like spend and trade and spend again and swap and whatever you like, as long as validators do validate. You can do this with the batchers. When you're swapping, you're saying, okay, this is the assets I want to receive. This is the address. Please send me. You send a transaction. Sometime passes. Transaction goes back to you. You can't say, okay, the transaction that will come back to me, I should put the loan as on AADA and give me something back on it. You can't do that. You can't program that way. You simply define what you're going to receive. And that's like killing, the connection between the protocols. And that's not what we should be practicing.
Wow, this is all very interesting. I'm learning a whole lot of new stuff that I didn't know was possible. So this is really, really cool. Now, the whole protocol and everything that you guys built, has it been audited yet? Like, has some sort of security company looked through it? Yep.
Yeah. Audit was very important from the very beginning. I'm kind of happy that we did audit on the very great time and great team by Vacuum Labs. This is the Vacuum Labs who are related to Wing Riders. And the guy had hands up to Lucas and Mikal, who did an audit, and they have taught us a lot. Like we are stupid, like everyone is stupid as long as you are smart as long as you admit you are stupid. They have showed us so many things. They found so many vulnerabilities on our code. To give an example, like when giving an NFT, someone could actually mint the other NFT, and if someone would bought that NFT, they could not get the loan from our protocol that they're supposed to get. We did not have the critical vulnerabilities that someone could drain the funds. That's the important thing. No one could drain your funds from UTXO model on our smart contract. That's lucky. Yeah. But we have those NFTs. Maybe someone could mean something else. So they found the bugs, and we've been audited. Audit was finished last week. We have an announcement. We have a document that we are sharing with everyone, and we feel much more comfortable launching our app after an audit. And I hope users who will see the audit, they will say, okay, I can lock some AADA there because it's audited. And one thing is what we haven't mentioned yet, we are going to do a book bounty. Before the launch, we will say, okay, anyone who is smart enough, look at our code, and if you will find the bug that actually can drain someone funds or something that will make our protocol safer, just report it to us and we will pay you a huge amount of money.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because it's open source as well, you've got your code there for people to be able to review. So having the bug bounty in there just makes perfect sense. I do like your approach of using vacuum labs because they're very, very Cardano orientated. They know Plutus and EUTXO, the whole way that Cardano works as well. Because they've been in the ecosystem for so long. So I think that was a good choice. I actually got one of their slide decks about their new services for auditing recently as well. So I think they're reaching out to other projects now looking for more auditing work, which is really, really cool. Okay. I'll make sure I put all those links in the show notes for the audit and also the bug bounty as well when you guys put that out. So if anyone's interested in there, if anyone's at that kind of level of programming, then go ahead and find out exactly what the bug bounty can offer. Now, when this launches, what is the Cardano ecosystem going to look like afterwards, like in terms of TVL that you're going to have on the protocol? Do you have any predictions of what price impact will happen or anything like that?
Yeah, the one number that I pulled up today is that Ethereum market cap by the time ETH Lend launched. As it was 2017, it was May, and Ethereum market cap was 8 billion by then. Cardano today is, I think it's between 15 and 16 billion dollars, right? And that's Ethereum right now is $200 billion. I don't know exactly. I'm making those numbers. Yeah. Something much more than it was at 2017. And this is when the DeFi actually started to emerge on Ethereum. Many dApps tried to do something, to build something, and it was very beginning. And this is what we are trying to copy. We don't know DEX. Cardano did not come up with a DEX idea. We simply want to try to build what is on Ethereum. And I do believe that's the beginning, that's the beginning of the whole journey. That's what we really want to believe, because we all the Cardano lovers here. And it's going to be a long way. Like 4 years, 5 years have passed already from the 2017. Regarding the total value locked, I don't know. Again, the best answer is I don't know. I would love to see hundreds of millions. It's not going to happen for sure. I would be we would say that, okay, we found the token market fit, that's not the word, product market fit, if we reach at least million dollars, couple of $1 million. So we do know what that's the product that people might be using. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe there are many things to change, and that's okay. But there are people using it. We have users using it. We have a feedback we want to receive. If you don't get that much, then we might say, okay, maybe this is UTXO model. This is not what people want. Maybe they want the other type, the pool type funds, lending borrowing protocol. That's what we have to build, and we have to build very fast. So we are ready to iterate based on that stat. I don't have a line in the sand to expect any of the numbers there right now.
Okay. Well, I guess we have to wait and see as time passes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see Cardano catch up, or AADA catch up to what Aave has in terms of liquidity. And of course, like you said, it's going to just take time for that something like that to happen. But it's going to be very interesting to watch the space evolve. I think you're right. That's why a lot of us are here. We're at the beginning journey of Cardano's DeFi journey into the cryptocurrency space. So we're all here watching this grow, and I'm not going to miss another DeFi summer. This is why I'm here. This is exactly what I'm excited about. Okay, absolutely brilliant. So how's the team feeling in general? I know you guys have been working really hard. How's the team feeling at the moment? I know you're pretty excited and a little bit tired.
Yeah, the whole team is excited. So it was a long year and a couple more months, and we simply been heads down writing the code, communicating with people, and the whole team okay, let's do. When is the end? When it's the milestone achieved, not the end. End is probably very, very far away. But when the milestone is achieved, then that feels like a milestone right now. Okay, it's in the future. it did not happen. Like I don't have to be much happy about yet because I don't know how the mainnet is going to be like. The launch is going to be a very new story that I don't know. But all the team is kind of more relaxed, at least yesterday, when we actually saw the PR going out there and here, and we said, okay, now we have a date. Like, okay, now we are going to launch by that date. And like I will take the opportunity to thank to all of the team, and especially Lucas and Ovidius, because they asked me to mention them here. So thank you. There is a Thomas who is a smart contract developer. There is Elvis. He is doing the front end and the like full stack developer. Very very great guy. We have a Luan in Vietnam. We are more or less distributed, and we have a Cesar who is like our front gateway. And he is our community manager. So if you think your job sucks, try to be a community manager in any crypto project. Like it's the very stressful environment to be in. So I'm very happy for the team and many other people who have been there and here, like in this whole journey. I'm very thankful, and we're happy.
Yeah. I'm assuming people can still play around with the testnet that you guys had to get a little bit of exposure to it and see what the platform's like before the launch, so they can get ready and know what they need to do.
Yeah. So we launched testnet on May, and we simply forgot about it. Like it's running since May, nothing have broken. There were some errors to fix it there and there, but it was simply running, and people have been using it, like creating a loan request and so on and so on. Apparently last month there was a networks changes on the testnet side, not on the mainnet. So our old app is running on our old legacy testnet, and we are going to launch it next week on the preview network. So anyone could actually take a test ADA from the faucet and use the tokens and play with the app. Starting next week, they can do it on the pre-prod network. Right now, they can do on legacy testnet. Which is hardly supported, but works. Like it still runs. Good. They can play with it.
Absolutely awesome. And I know you guys have a little bit of a participation airdrop happening. Can you share a little bit of details about that when the platform launches?
Yeah, exactly. We do have an airdrop. We already have announced the airdrop. So the people who will be interacting with our app starting the launch date, they will receive some of the tokens. Will be dropped to the other providers if they create a loan request, getting funded those loans. Just trying to touch and feel the app. For us, the point is to get a feedback. We want users to come and say, okay, I'm not going to send my money to this address because the button sucks or something like that. So we want to get a feedback. In exchange for that, we are going to give you tokens. And if enough of people will try it, if enough of people will find it okay, we can use it. Maybe they will actually use it. Maybe they will give a loan to someone. Maybe they will borrow from someone else. And then the TBL will grow because of it. Because we need to adapt as more users as we can. We do love our token holders. We simply like giving away tokens, just be our token holder, learn about us. Follow us, try to use what we build. So that we find a value in it. So more users try. So on our mainnet launch, if you are a borrower, you create a loan request, you receive the loan from someone, you will receive AADA tokens. I can't say the terms right now, but you will receive the tokens, and that's the cool extra tokens that you can hold on your wallet. Yep.
Extra little bit there, and you can still stake them as well on your platform.
No, you can't stake them anymore. But you can provide a liquidity, or you can pay interests. You can pay interest with those tokens. That's the cool part. You don't need to pay interest in ADA. You can stake them. You can farm on any of the dexes, Minswap, Wing Riders. You can farm it there, and you can vote on our platform. We are going to have many more proposals. And from the first voting round that we had an on-chain voting. We find that people find value in holding our token because they can make decisions on the future platform changes. And some of the protocols want to be listed, for example, but they couldn't be listed because the community voted otherwise. So that's the power. And you can do this with our token. And we're going to open a staking. So regarding the staking, I'm not a fan of the staking because of sake of staking.
Yeah.
Just put the tokens in some smart contract and you will get more tokens at some time later. That's the anchor protocol. That's the abracadabra box when you simply get something more because we just want to give you something more. We are going to have a reasonable staking when you remember the liquidator, the role that I mentioned.
Yep.
It's actually the bigger model called safety model. And on that safety model, there is a insurance. And to make sure the liquidator liquidates the loan at the time and the lender is receiving what they're supposed to receive, sometimes market can be in the bad condition. The market can go down, or maybe liquidators are dead. No one knows how to code Python, but that nothing happens. It never happens. We might need to do an incentives, not we, but the smart contract might need to do an incentives to make sure that lender is receiving what he's supposed to receive every time. It should never happen otherwise, right? So that's what the safety model comes in. That's when our token utility comes in, and a lender to receive the assets he is supposed to receive, he or she is going to pay a fees. And these fees are going to be distributed to our stakers. That's the sustainable staking that we should propagate. Not the staking simply for the sake of staking.
From the actual platform being used. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. I love that approach as well. Okay, I think we talked about a lot in this episode. I wasn't expecting so much. It's so good to see the platform grow to where it is. It's evolving. We're at that launch point now. So thank you, Mantas, for coming back on the podcast and joining me again to talk about the platform and sharing all this as well. It's always so cool to learn so much more from you too. I think I have to buy you a drink at some point in time.
I do plan to go to Lausanne. I suppose that's the Cardanó summit in Switzerland in November. So that's where, I would love to meet new people. I know you are not going to be there. Sadly, I'm not going to Brisbane, if I'm right, because where the smaller community meeting is. But since it's in Europe, I think it's a very huge opportunity to visit because I'm beyond from Europe. So I hope to see someone, and someone would say, "Oh, here you're Mantas. Probably you do something," and I would say, "Yes, it's me." And I would love that.
All right. Well, enjoy the Cardano Summit, but more importantly, enjoy the launch. Celebrate that. It's a very big win and a very big tick for you guys. So congratulations on that. I hopefully can speak to you out on that day as well. But fingers crossed, everything goes smoothly for you guys too.
Thank you.
Now, I'm pretty excited about this protocol launching. I've been following the project for quite a while, and I'll be going through and doing all the videos for this one as well. So if you're interested in working out and working through with me how to do the borrowing side of things, how to do the lending side of things, I'll be doing video tutorials for you guys so you know exactly how it all works. So make sure you give me that thumbs up, click that subscribe, and most importantly, click on that notification bell so you get those notifications on the 13th when the protocol launches, so that you guys have a really good overview of how to go through the platform and understand exactly how it all works before jumping in and making a mistake. Hopefully we don't make any mistakes. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debating.